Keeping it real with Rudy Liquid.
Mondays I'll be on Rudy Liquid. Keep it real. Talk show. 8:30 p.m. Check it out. Boom.
Keeping it real with Rudy Liquid. The topical interactive chat show where you may end up being one of the guests.
So what is
with
this
special guest
phrase
the audience
to depopulate the brand?
Rudy Liquid.
Who them gonna
this
populate
event is
it
brought
with?
to you by Comedy Hotspot. Don't forget, keeping it
Britain.
real with Rudy
Britain
Liquid.
has approximately 60 odd million, nearly 70 million people in an area mass 88,000 square miles of land. Ghana, which is one of the smallest countries in Africa, has a population of approximately 30 million, with a land mass of 92,000 square miles of land. So where is overpopulated?
Right.
China has 1.3 billion people. Yeah. Yet China can fit within the southern regions of Africa. Yeah.
Alone.
Alone. And that area don't have a billion people.
Right.
So where is overpopulated? Who are they talking about? People need to learn and study science, geography, and mathematics. Don't let these people come and bamboozle you. Malcolm X tell us already, you've been bamboozled. No, we haven't.
Keeping it real with Rudy Liquid. This is an 18 certificate only.
Thanks for your patience. How are you doing? Thanks you guys for joining me on Keep It Real, where I get an opportunity to talk to guys that I've met throughout the years, really. It's been a fantastic day. I've got to say that from the off. There's no way I can see the lockdown keeping people in from what I've seen today. My name is Rudy Liquid. I know I diverted off there to what a wonderful day it was today. And I'm going to be talking to a gentleman tonight who I met, I guess, when I was on my journey. Was I in the right, is that right room? Was I in the ring room? The ring room. You're in the right room, darling. You're in the right room. Just know that after an hour, I will be coming off Facebook and I will be going over to YouTube. That's a warning for everybody. Good evening, Jackie, one and all. Had to sleep all day to catch this one. Well, you know what? Because you know that this is going to be a fiery one tonight. We're going to learn things that you didn't expect. Oh my God, typo. Was I in the wrong room? No, you weren't in the wrong room. I'm not sure what room you're in. I know you're in a Facebook room. Good evening, Verona. How you doing, babes? Trevor. Yeah, you got your Saturdays back with your football. I know that. But let's get straight into this. Let's not waste no time. Let's get straight into this. Let me introduce my guest the way that I do, Mr. Kwaku Bonsu. Kwaku, man, how you doing?
Oh, Tip, my brother.
Oh, Tip, man, bless. Thank you for being here, man, because I know that yesterday was a tough time for you. You was out on the when I was talking to you on the phone yesterday, you brought down.
Yeah. It was it's a tough weekend.
Yeah, what was it? A flat tire? What did you have, man?
Yeah, it was the van I drive. The tire went flat, and it's one of those long wheelbase vans. You know what I mean? You have to jack it up and all them something there. You know them way there. And I don't understand them. I don't understand them jacks they send with it. Cause they can't jack up nothing. So I have to go now and drive go down one garage and get one of the big jack them and things like that, and then come back and jack it up, take off the thing, put it back on. And then I was doing a bit of work yesterday as well.
Jesus Christ. Because you seem a bit tired, my friend. I'm not gonna lie. You do seem tired. And
I was up until about 4:30 this morning.
okay.
You see, and then I got up. I went to my bed I must have got into my bed about 4:30 this morning. Don't know what time I drop off asleep.
Okay, the phone has just done a thing where it's spun round.
Yeah. Yeah. So 1 second.
That's okay.
Sorry, Rude. This is all happening live.
Yeah. This. You know what? I prefer an interview when they're live as opposed to I could record them and then I could like edit them down. Yeah. I feel that people would much rather get an honest response and a true awakening of who my guests are. So I deliberately don't. I don't go that route. I don't go that route. Maybe I might in the future. Who knows? Who knows?
Tell Mum I'm busy. I can't answer the phone. Quick. She keeps phoning me.
Yeah. But right now, we can see your hand. I've got people in the room who are sending out greetings to you. You've got Liz saying greetings, Jackie saying greetings. Juicy Julie is also sending out some greetings to you. Are you okay? There we go.
I'm here now.
Is it nearly?
I'm here now, Roots. Can you hear me?
Yeah. But you're slightly off center though.
Huh?
You're off center.
Off center?
That's more. Yeah, you're more central. That's better.
I can just about hear you now.
No, can you just about hear me?
What it is? I'm doing it on my phone. I'm doing it on my phone, and my phone keeps ringing, and you know when they do that, it just knocks out exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean? You know the rules.
Yeah, because you know where your mic is, I think it's slightly muffled as well. Greetings, Astrid. How you doing?
I'm trying to reconnect.
Okay, that sounds better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now, Ruth?
I can hear you, but it's like you're frozen on me now.
Like it's gone dead.
No, we're fine. We're fine.
I can hardly hear you now. That's what the problem is.
Is it? Oh no.
Can I log off and log back in?
Go ahead. Log off, log back in. Yes, log off and log back in.
Let me log off and log back in.
Well, as you can see, this is what happens when you're live, right? It's like, to me, it's the equivalent of like when you're performing and they tell you that you've got to wait for an artist to arrive. Can you improvise? And you get caught on the spot. Yeah. And that's it. That's basically just what's happened here. But it's good to see you, Craig. It's been a long time, my friend. Been wondering what you've been getting up to. No doubt you spent quite a while out and about. No doubt you went for a walk in the park. Because I definitely went for a walk today. I had to, man. I thought there was no way that I was going to get all that sunshine, yeah, and not go and get my vitamin D. You know what I mean? I had to go and get some vitamin D, man. Get some blood running through my my. You know what I mean? My body once again. Work, says Craig. Yes, Craig. I'd love to get to interview you as well, man. Find out. I know what you do, but it would be nice if you shared what you did. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not going to say unless you're prepared to say. You know what I'm saying, Craig? I mean, I see unless you're prepared to see it. Yeah. But it would be good. It would be interesting to actually sit down and have a chat with you today. You know it. I was out in it as well. Is it? sorting out your melanin, eh, girl? Yep. We were on the road to freedom. This is what I'm saying. I think that people are actually going to take their freedom. I mean, Kwaku, with the way that the weather is now, right? Can you see people putting up with lockdown?
Well, nobody put up with the lockdown when the weather was this time last year. It was sunny, you know, when the lockdown, if you remember rightly, and people didn't. you know, people was out. They were out on the, you know, I don't know about over here, but white people never put down to the lockdown. They were
went
out
to
there in
Bournemouth, man.
numbers.
They was all in Bournemouth, going in the sea, out in
It's
South.
in Bournemouth, you go Clapham Common, over
Yeah.
in South London where I am, you go Clapham Common, you go Brackwell Park. They were out there like sea, like it was a normal summer's day. Them not put on to lockdown, but me never seen a police van and lock them up.
Seed.
Them something there.
Seed.
Yeah, something I said. Me never seen none of that.
I do.
Them out there, them and them children a ride bike and one bag or something. If they were really reporting it, I don't know about any other city, but in London, in the daytime, there was no lockdown. I suppose at night, when it gets on to about 10 o'clock at night, then because all the businesses and everything shut, them now know we forgot, so them I forgot them yard. You overstand me? But daytime, them out there.
Yeah, because
Them
I mean
out
that's
there.
when they first of all started to tell us that COVID used to turn up at 6 p.m. in the evening. Remember when they used to tell us that COVID,
Yeah. Them I tell you, say, them say it's a COVID. You know, because COVID is a very intelligent bacteria, you know. A very, oh God, intelligent man. COVID know what time for come deal with you. Yeah. COVID know where for come deal with you. COVID even know the distance to deal with you.
See.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What you mean, man? COVID is so intelligent that them have to cut off the road them to stop COVID for go down the road them.
Because all down South London, if I'm correct, they're blocking off the roads.
They block off all the roads. You could. It's in Brixton with me there. See, you can't drive through Brixton no more. You have to go round. So you can only go on Brixton Road. You can only go Loughborough Road. You can only go Dulwich Road, Efra Road. You can only go Acre Lane. You can't go through the houses and all them. So them lock it up because COVID block up around there. See, if you go through there, you might get COVID. You see, if you go through there, so no, you might get COVID. You see, because COVID, you know. And when them first block it off, you know, them say because of COVID, them block off the road. So COVID has the ability to come off the sidewalk with your car window them up into your car and infect you. Amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. What I find amazing is that you're funny without even trying. You're funny without even trying because it's not something you deliberately set out to do, is it?
No, I didn't set out to do comedy.
Because you see, people are already laughing, and it's not like you sort of like set about and said, right, let me make the people them laugh, or let me tell a joke. That's not how comedy happens for you, is it?
No. And as you well know, Rudy, we've worked together for many years. I've known you over 2 decades, and I've never written a material yet. Only once.
And what was that for? What was that for? Club Class.
That was for Club Class, yeah. And that took me it took me 2 days to do that. Because me think so when them right men say, yeah, come on, all them something, yeah, me just turn up. When the people them say I have to send them in, when me I go say, me never know what to do.
Yeah. Because I know that because I know that you're a man who walks onto the stage with no idea, none, in terms of what you're gonna say. I mean, yes, you've got an idea that you was on stage before, and there were certain routines that you had, but it's always recreated. It's never ever the same.
Yeah, I call it kamikaze comedy.
Is it? Okay.
People call it ad-lib. People call it ad-lib and them thing there, but we call it kamikaze comedy. Because I'm a total wreck before I start. Yeah, you know that, Rude. You work with me.
You are a nervous wreck.
I don't know how whatever it is I'm going to say is going to come out. I know people might not believe that, but over the years, because I've done stuff, and people like you will say to me, Kwaku, record your stuff, because because you work with me so much time, and you never hear the same thing twice. Until So I've had to try to record myself. I remember some stuff, and some stuff I don't remember.
Mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, I do.
Because my comedy,
Your comedy's in the moment. It's always in the moment.
Yeah, it's in the moment. It's in the moment. It's in the moment. It's always. I try to keep in the moment. That's not saying that there ain't stuff I've said before.
No,
I
I
haven't
get
said
that.
again.
Yeah.
You understand me? But
Yeah.
I don't have what they
You have
call
a
a
set
set.
list.
They don't have a set that this got this, so that in the middle and that are the clothes. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me naked on stage. When you really check it, the only thing me have on is clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's naked comedy that I get.
Yeah, but
raw, undiluted.
But let's go back. Let's go back even further, because what people don't know about you, is that as much as you're saying that the comedy is very spontaneous, right, and it's very much in the moment, you do have a background, right, when it comes to the arts. I mean, who would have known that you did tap dancing?
Hey, Rudy, what you leave me out for, man? Yeah, leave me out for, man. Yeah, I did tap dancing, man. I did tap dancing. As a youth.
Yeah? I gotta laugh, man. Yeah. I have to laugh because we all know
shuffle,
you.
Shuffle, upstep, shuffle, good change. You know.
Yeah, I have to. Bust a laugh. You have to forgive me because this is you. This is you.
That's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Right.
That's at the annual African Emancipation Day reparations march.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's a lot of people who don't really understand what you said. Yeah, so please explain, right? Why?
Well, that picture was a picture of a demonstration that we do every year since 2014, and that demonstration is part of the Pan-Africanist movement. And it's part of reparations.
Okay.
Where we're seeking an all-party parliamentary inquiry into what we call the Mangamizi, because Mangamizi is a Kiswahili word for neo-colonial chattel enslavement of our people, the kidnapping of our people from the continent of Africa and putting us on concentration camps in various parts of the American world. And those of us like yourself and me, Rudy, who come here to Britain via the Caribbean are the descendants of those kidnapped people. And when those people fought the British to the negotiation table for their freedom, what the British did, they compensated the enslavers and gave the enslaved nothing. And hence why you see, people who look in the Caribbean, Trinidad, Jamaica, where there's a lot of problems in those particular islands. In terms of violence and crime and drugs and all the rest of it, and people look in it and they look on the surface of it, but they don't look on the history of it. And everything has a history. Everything has a history. There's a history behind everything. And so we're the only people on the planet that everybody said, "Oh, that happened, then forget it," and things like that. And they can always get people like us who look like us to even support that narrative, but they would never say that to the Jews. They didn't say that when the Japanese was getting their reparations from the Americans and so forth. You understand what I'm saying to you? And what happened to us as African people is the single most heinous crime in the history of humanity. It's the worst. You understand? Because it lasted over 400 years and it still continues until today. And interesting enough that you asked me that question, beloved. The trial for the murder of George Floyd started today. So that's an interesting point. You see what I'm saying? Now you got me in my serious mode. This is my serious mode.
No. I haven't really. I've got you in your Kwaku mode. Yeah.
Yes.
Because what people are not aware, may not be aware of, or they most probably are aware of, especially if they've seen you do comedy, right, is that your comedy is very uncompromising, and it's not. You don't sway. You don't I don't
bend.
Yeah. You don't bend.
And that's always been me throughout my life, Rudy. I don't claim to be. I've never claimed to be the best comic. No, I love doing stand up. because it's an opportunity for me to Africate the people, to give a little information with humor.
Okay.
Understand what I'm saying to you? And I've
Yeah.
worked with many comics over the years, male and female. And as you know, there are nights when, you know, whatever show you do, there's going to be.
Let's talk about the Kevin Hart night in Birmingham.
Oh,
Go on.
oh.
Let's talk about the Kevin Hart night in Birmingham.
What do you want to know?
Just tell people what happened that night, because you weren't even meant to be on.
Well, as you know, Rudy, I'm not the first choice for promoters in the comedy arena, primarily for two reasons, and one you explained earlier. One is that they don't know what I'm going to say because I don't know what I'm going to say.
Right.
And two, I'm very radical in the things that I say. I will say things that people think, ooh, he's gone a bit over the edge. You know what I mean? And so most of the promoters don't want to book me because, let's be truthful, they don't want to offend white people. It's white people that don't offend. But the thing is, the thing is, the white audience love it.
Sorry. No, I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah, they don't want to offend white people. You know what I mean? And I try my best to be truthful in any statement that I make, because the truth can stand for itself. It can defend itself. It has no friends, and it does offend. You understand what I'm saying? But comedy is a thing where you express yourself. You understand? So I don't intentionally go there I don't go there to, you know, offend people in per se, but I will say things because I can only do comedy from my experience. I'm an African man in Britain, Barnyaso, black man. I can only give comedy from my perspective. I can't do comedy from nobody else's perspective. I can only do comedy from my experience. And you do comedy and what you experience, whether in your past or in the present time that you live. You understand me? So some people find it uncompromisable.
Well, I call it more challenging, because what people fail to understand is that I mean, I work predominantly on the mainstream circuit, which is the white circuit, okay, and I found that they're more open to the truth and honest comedy than they are to a couple of gags, all right, which is finding Christmas cards, yeah, or when you pull a cracker, yeah, but when you start talking about social issues, that's when you've got their real attention. Right? That's the sort of comedy that you will find that blossoms in places like Edinburgh. All right. But when we start talking about commercial comedy, we're just talking about going to the nightclubs, we're talking about having drugs for the first time, we're talking about getting pissed and fucked up. And then, oh, look how many bruises I've come home with, you know, the next day. Right. That's very superficial in terms of what comedy can be about, and promoters tend to want to lean that way unless they can see that I guess you've got high numbers on social media, right? Then what they're looking for is bums on seats. What they tend to find with the social media comedians is they don't really have the same sort of impact that a real comedian would have. What I would call a real stand-up comedian, because everyone's got their own. Comedy is very subjective, basically, to put it that way. But your comedy has always been uncompromising. It's always been challenging. Yeah, I mean, there's people in here who are already saying real talk, Kwaku, because that's what they really want from you. It's what people actually want from you. I mean, I've got a question here that's been asked of you straight away. Ask him about Magalufi. That's John Magalufi.
President Pombe Magufuli. What do they want to know about Magufuli? That's the question. But I think the question is, do I think Magufuli was assassinated by the West? Yes, I do.
Okay, and the reasons. Give your reasons.
You know, Africa is the breadbasket of the world. The whole world needs Africa. Africa doesn't need the world, and this is what people do not understand. Africa doesn't need the world for anything. It don't need the world for resources. What it needs from the world is to leave them alone to develop. Africa is the cradle of civilization. It's the cradle of history. It's the beginning of human civilization, and it is the cradle of resources. Even the apparatus that we're using now, Rudy,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for Africa, we couldn't use it, because 80% of the natural resources that is used to manufacture this, the computers and the phones and all the thing, comes out of Africa. Most of it come out of the Congo.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
understand what I'm saying to you?
Somebody in the comments could actually tell us what that mineral is, because I know that there's somebody in the comments who knows the mineral that he's referring to. Okay.
You want me to? I can tell you. I can tell you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's coltan and
That's
cobalt.
Right. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, it's worth more than gold.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? For the things that it do, the satellites in the air, the laser guided missiles, you name it. It's in that. It's in computers, laptops, televisions, telephone. The entire electrical technology depends on that resource. And Europeans and Asians, in terms of the Japanese, the Chinese, and all, they get it for nothing, literally nothing. And other resources as well, copper, iron, oil, plutonium, uranium for their nuclear weapons and all them things. Is how Africa come? You understand what I'm saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Africa don't need nobody. And what Magafuli did, he prevented big corporate companies from stealing the resources of Tanzania without paying the right price from it. Because Africans ain't saying they're not going to share their wealth with you. What Africa is saying that you need to pay the proper price for it, and so that we can build up our infrastructures within our countries and our people benefit from it. But we have a lot of despots in Africa, and what you find is that European countries, anytime you see there's a president in Africa that they're friends with, he is robbing the country. Because you're gonna and anyone you see that don't agree with them, that doesn't follow their narrative, they demonize them. And that's because they want to destabilize the country so they could continue to get the natural resources for little and nothing.
Because I mean, one of the final straws when it came to Magafuli was the fact that when the COVID thing happened and it shocked the world, he actually stood up and said, "Well, no, we've actually got scientists here, we've actually got doctors here, okay, and until our doctors say what needs to be done, are we going to step forward?" So nobody was wearing any masks at the time. There was no social distancing.
And interestingly enough, that you said that, Rudy, he did not say that he was not gonna use any vaccine. What he said, our scientists have to check it out first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that he says, he goes, European don't have no monopoly on intelligence. You understand what I'm saying? And he pulled away from the WHO. And as African people, we have got to be very mindful of what's going on there, because a virus that started out in China, in Wuhan in China, that supposedly decimated Italy and Spain and them places there, it reached the United States of America and eventually reached here. From becoming an Asian problem, it became an African problem. And we became at the top of the list of potential death and contraction of this disease. How ironic is that? Until they were demonizing Africans in China, running them out of hotels, flinging them down on the street, attacking them. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? For something that never come out of an African laboratory. It never come out of an African laboratory on the continent. It didn't come out of an African laboratory in the Caribbean. It came out of a Chinaman laboratory. And we now know that disease is patented, and any it's
been patented for years.
Yeah, it's been patented for years. And any antidote that is created for it is been patented. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying to you? So
Yeah.
we know, and see, this is the type of stuff I would put in. I put
Into
in
your
my
humor, and
material.
this is what I want. This is what
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
want people to understand exactly where your comedy is coming from, because your Afrocentric views are really based around the love of being of knowing who you are.
Exactly.
And,
And you know, like Rudy, I was born in this country.
mm-hmm,
You understand? So
mm-hmm.
I went school in this country like you did. You know, I went college in this country. I worked
What did
in
you
this
do when you was at
country.
college? What did you do when you was at college?
I went to redo my maths and my English and that because I got expelled from school at 15. Yeah.
Right.
And then I went back to college later on to do computers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to learn about computers and things like that in the early days, in the early, you know,
So what was
the late 80s.
was you questioning authority at the age of 15, or what was the issues you were actually having at school at that point in time?
Well, at that point, I caught a teacher roughing up my younger brother. So I bossed him with a chair.
Okay.
Yeah, simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long story,
No,
and I'll have
no.
to
I
come
mean,
back
you
another time
told
to
the story
really go into that.
you bust his head with a chair, and he was messing about with your brother.
Yeah, so
that led you to having to leave school at a quite early age, and then
quite early age.
study. Yeah, and you.
Yeah, but my point was, Rudy, I didn't want to stray. My point was that everything I learned about me
Mm-hmm.
was from the community that I grew up in. And I grew up in Brixton when Brixton was Brixton, you know, like when Arsden was Arsden, when
Mm-hmm.
Dalston was Dalston, you know, when Tottenham was Tottenham and so forth, you know, when all these St. Paul's were St. Paul's and, you know, Antwerp was Antwerp.
Then how do you end up tap dancing then? Why did you end up going to tap dancing? How did that happen?
Well, when I used to go Sunday school, as a young age, believe it or not, I was a very good singer. I could sing. You wouldn't know that now, but I was a very good. You know, I could sing. And I used to sing in church and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, my pastor, who's gone on to the ancestors now, used to encourage me, and so did my mama. And he said you should do something with that because he can sing. You know, and I used to sing at primary school as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was when I was primary, around the age of 8 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mum enrolled me into the Italia Conte school.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where Lena Tavaroni went?
Lena Zavaroni. Yeah. I was in class at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they my mom enrolled me into the Italia Conte school. And my little brother and my little sister, funny enough. Yeah. And my little sister did ballet, and my brother did drama, and I did tap dancing and singing.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do drama. I did tap dancing and singing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting all them certificates. Them last them no, because I don't know where them gone now. But me did I get a certificate because I used to sing all Michael Jackson tunes. When Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson.
Well, when he had a little black nose. When he had black nose.
Yeah, when he had the, you know, his afro.
Afro.
And, yeah. You know what I mean? And that beautiful nose that he had. You understand what I'm saying to you? And so, you know, I used to sing Michael Jackson tune and things like that. And but I didn't want to go. To stage school. I didn't want to do it because I wanted to play cricket for my primary school.
Okay.
Because I had to go to Italia Conte on a Saturday, I couldn't go and play cricket for my school.
Okay.
You know? And I bunked it. Hey, who bunks the Italia Conte school? I did. Yeah, I tell you though. The old lady got wind of it, and I get a ras beating. You see?
Oh god. Yeah,
but you know, I went there for a while. And if I look back at it, it was all right, but it was mainly white people. So we were the only kind of like black people in there. There's a couple other black people, but it was about like 98% European.
But later on, you met up with Chris Cummins, known as Toshiba, and Llewellyn Gideon.
Well, I knew Llewellyn Gideon differently. I knew her before. You know, we were friends. We were part of the same group of people and things like that. So we were friends.
Because Llewellyn, some people might not know or may not recall, is that Llewellyn was in The Real McCoy. She was the one who did the famous Margaret Thatcher sketch,
Yeah.
Was always partnered up with Leo Chester in wherever
Very talented sister.
Very
Very talented sister.
Extremely. I mean, she sold out. I remember she sold out the Oval. I think she sold out the Oval about three times over. This was slightly before Angela Lamar actually started doing her thing. Llewellyn was actually selling out. But there was I believe that there was, like you said, there was a story about between you and Llewellyn, how you met up with Llewellyn.
Yeah, well, what happened is, Llewellyn, a very beautiful African woman. And I fancied her. You know what I mean? And we used to talk and thing. And she was going to this, she said she was going to some place when they asked me to follow her. Yeah. So we went down to Hammersmith. I can't remember, I think it was underneath the flyover somewhere. But what it was a black drama school. And it was run by Beastie. Remember Beastie? He's gone on to the Ancestors now. And I went there with her, and I stood at the side, and they told me to come and get involved in and all the rest of it. And we did some drama thing, and some little acting business was going on, and you just had to be freelance and things like that. And so I joined in and thing, and then it was a nice evening. And then when they finished, he told me to come back. He said, "Make sure you come back next week." And I said, "Yeah." And so me and her left, and we went home and things like that, and but I never ever went back.
Okay.
She called me up to say, "Come in." But them days that you're young, you know what I mean? You got so much things I do, depending on what thing,
Yeah.
And I didn't go back, and years later, I saw her on the Real McCoy.
Whoa. That must have been quite interesting. But the thing is that you kept on meeting people along the way, because around that time was that when you started to get into how did you? I know we're going backwards and forwards a bit, but I think we have to with yourself. Was like, how did you get into the because you met up with Jeff Schumann is where I'm trying to go, because Jeff was into community work and what have you.
Yeah, Jeff Schumann. What a lot of people don't know is that Jeff Schumann was a community worker before he was doing comedy and all the rest of that type of stuff, And interestingly enough, his first children mother was Evie, was a Pan-Africanist. They were Pan-Africanist people, and I met them through an organization that was called Reality Syndicate at the time. And in a place called New Initiatives, and there was this meeting and thing and everything. But the Saturday school that I'm still a part of today, that was created by Dr. Femi Biko, was actually incepted with Jeff Schumann's children's mother.
Okay.
Yeah, she was the president of the school when we first started the school. So she was a president alongside the creator of the school.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's how I met Jeff. And interestingly enough, we were trying to raise money for the school. And Jeff came and said, "Look, he's putting on an event." And that was in Hammersmith. And we could come down there, and if we could come down with buckets, he would give us an opportunity at some point through his show to collect money. And we said, yeah. So, we went down there. I can't remember the year it is. And when we went down there, I was a spokesperson.
You ended up taking to the stage though, to cajole the people into making an offering.
Yeah. So Jeff gave us about 3-4 minutes to go out there and speak to the people. So my colleagues nominated me to go and talk, And I went on this. We went out there on the stage, and I went out there and I started to talk to the people. And then I don't know, the people them just start laughing. I couldn't tell you what I'd said. That was so funny to be fair. But the people them just start laugh, and it was good. And I remember because we raised over £600 at the time, and that was in the early 90s. That would have been, I'll tell you what that would have been about 93. Around about that time there. Yeah, it would have been around about 93. Because it was actually, I think, the year before I entered comedy.
Yeah.
So, it was around. It was around about 93. And then Jeff now, used to keep badgering me and say, listen, look, you know, I do this comedy thing, you know, you should do comedy, you should do comedy. This man not talk about comedy. When me know about comedy,
Yeah.
he me train to be a comedian. So, and he used to always badger me. Anytime he see me, he said, Kwaku, you know, you come down, come and, you know, I can help you and this and I said, nah, yeah. But I wasn't even on that kind of tip at the time, you know what I mean? You know, I was on, in fact, I was doing a radio show that ran up near enough around about them times here as well.
So what are we
So
talking about? Power Jam? Are we talking about Power Jam? Or
yeah, Power Jam. Yeah, the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show that I used to do on Power Jam. Yeah.
Because Power Jam,
You know?
at the time, as I can recall it, it was transmitting mainly across London, if I'm correct. More south.
Yeah, correct.
South London time.
Yeah. But and I must let people know this. Power Jam, interestingly enough, was one of the first, if not the first.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Not the first, if not the first, pirate station to go internet.
Yeah, but it was
early days.
Yeah, but it was also less about the music and more about the chat.
Well, it was more about the music, but I had a chat show on there.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that was a difference. Yeah, I had a talk show there alongside two of my brothers we were working together on what we call the Liberation Road. Yeah, Kuumba and Nikoja.
Okay. Because I mean, that was the one thing that I did notice, that when it came to our radio stations, I mean, I would hear about Radio 4 and Radio 3, and they would have dramas and stuff like that. But in terms of our community, there wasn't really a lot of talk. There wasn't really a lot of interaction that was going on, or talking about exactly what was going on within the community. We were just playing music at the time. So did you used to play on sound? How did that? I mean, how did you get into radio then? Because did that come through the sound systems or?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Rudy. See, because when we're dealing with a subject like this, we're supposed to put people, give the people the correct genealogy. Yeah. There was a radio station called Genesis,
right, and
they were the first, as I know, to start doing talk shows.
Okay,
Genesis Radio. They used to have several presenters that did talk shows, and they were heavy in the day.
Okay.
But the owner of Genesis and the owner of Power Jams were friends. In fact, they started Power Jam together. Yeah, and then he left them when they started up Genesis, and so I think it was a little competition thing. But the owners of Power Jam at the time, we grew up together in Sunday school, so they knew me. They knew me. We're family, really. You might as well say, because that's how we live, you know. And they noticed the work that I was doing in the community at the time, doing a lot of grassroots work, you know.
Yeah.
Just entering into the what we call the liberation struggle, and you know, sojourning to know who I really am, find out about who we are, not me, but who we are as African people in this country. And it's on that sojourn now I started to do the Saturday school. Then I started to do other things, because I helped run a course in Pentonville Prison, in Rochester Women's Prison.
Okay.
I did things in Brixton Prison. You know, I was lecturing in universities on African history and stuff like that. You know, we've been invited by the African and African Caribbean Students Union to do lectures in university. So I lectured in the University of Kent, in Canterbury, Brunel University, Leicester University, Bristol, Manchester, you know, Birmingham.
So was you doing all of these things while you were still at BT?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, I was doing that while I was at BT, and it's one of the reasons why I left BT. One of the reasons why I just gave up the job, because you can't do activism work and have employment, like in terms of have them employing you.
Right.
It affects what you have to do, because you got to go meetings at all hours of night. Sometimes you got to go demonstrations at a particular day. You can't be, you know, begging you know, for day off and all them things to go and do those type of stuff, you know what I mean? And it started to affect, and I got deeply rooted in it. You could say I kind of got fanatical.
Yeah,
you know,
you
I
are
was
fanatical.
reading.
Breaker, you are fanatical. I have to tell you that, because it was you who made me coin the phrase on stage. BT are black technicians. That's what I said. That was one of the similes that I used to use on stage and get laughs with. And that was through talking and meeting up with yourself. You know, because as you said, it was.
It's interesting. Now that you say that, you know, Rudy, you asked me about Kevin Hart. I will come back to that. But interestingly enough, when I was working with BT, I worked in the Exchange, and I worked in actually the BT Tower. So we worked in the Exchange, and we were called jumper runners. And what that is, you connect the lines, the new lines that people want from inside the Exchange. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should work on the test desk, and you test the line, and you send a signal down the line, and then the engineer goes to the cab and he picks it up on his oscillator and he connects it there and then sends it into the yard. It's all that type of stuff we do. So, and I worked in there for a time, and that's a whole nother story in itself. But then I moved on to a project that they were doing. It was called a pay and answer change out, and what that was, you was changing all the pay phones in London and the outskirts. So I'd work in Luton and Welling Garden City and places, you know, Hempstead and all them things. I went, you know, it took me everywhere. Yeah. It took me everywhere. So what happened is, I had a job to do one day, and it was to put a payphone in Hackney Empire. Yeah. Yeah. It was to put a payphone in Hackney Empire. And I went down there, and I went in Hackney Empire, and I had to run. It was one of the longest runs I did, you know, because you have to earth the phone as well, so you got to find yourself big thing. And so when people was using the payphones in Hackney Empire back in the 90s, I put them in there. Yeah. So and that was around that. That was around the time when they had 291 Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
in the early part when they had 291 Club. And that was in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And I always remember going on the stage. I walked out on the stage. I don't know why I walked out on that stage. I walked out on that stage and I looked up, and something inside of me said, "You're going to be here one day." I didn't know what to do.
Right.
But I just had a little feeling inside of me. I just looked up, and that was it. I did the job. Yeah, I did the job, and that was it. And who would have known that X amount of years later, I did a show in fact, I worked a couple of times in Hackney Empire. But the person that brought me in Hackney Empire was Cabaret, and Miles Crawford, Hewitt Crawford, and their brethren Richie.
Okay, yeah, that was the three of them. The three of them. That was the three of them, because that's where Slim made his debut. Slim's first gig was actually on Hackney Empire when Curtis introduced him. But then you and Slim then met up.
Oh no, I don't know about that.
Yes, yeah. Believe it. After me and you spoke, I actually spoke to Slim, right? And like, I know that your cousin Danny used to run.
That's right. My cousin Danny used to run. In fact, my cousin Danny, I think, is responsible for the old talent thing in Britain, because he used to live in America. He went to America for a while. I lived in the States for a while. But my cousin went to America to live as well, and he stayed out there for a long time. And he's always been kind of, you know, an entrepreneur kind of guy. And
we're talking about Bickle's Bakery, aren't we? We're talking about Bickle's Bakery. Am I correct?
Yeah, Bickle's Bakery. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And he when he returned back to England from the United States of America, he started doing live shows. And one of the first live shows he did was Lovers Rock. He was the one that came with it. He doesn't get the recognition for it, but these things happen. But he came and did the first Lovers Rock concert back in the 90s. He came up with it, yeah? And then he had a company called Talent Quest.
That's right.
And Talent Quest was a talent competition, a grassroots talent competition for grassroots singers and poets and that type of stuff.
Yeah, because that's what brought to us Singers Paradise. Singers Paradise grew out of that as well, which ended up in Camden. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
yes, Danny is responsible for. I would say Danny was part of the movement that was happening at that time, because
because I don't know what was
DJ
happening
Elaine doing
outside
her
of London.
thing in one side, you had Miles doing his thing on the other side. You get me? You had the Real McCoy crew, you had the Posse, right? You had the BB crew, you had John Smith. There was a lot going on. There was a hell of a lot going on, and it all culminated. The 291 was where it all came together. Basically, all the arts came together. You get me? And so you were part of this.
I think 291 was before Danny's Talent Quest. 291 was before that. It was before that.
Well, it
was before that.
291 was before, right? Then Slim would be correct in saying that his initial gig, because he did say he did Hackney Empire before he did Danny.
Because Danny'd run a competition. Yeah. But I know Slim differently. I know Slim differently from comedy.
Right, because we're talking sound system.
Yeah, I know Slim from our sound system there, because Slim was part of a sound called Sovereign.
Right.
And I was part of a sound called Magic.
Right.
Yeah, and we used to play out and all them things there, and we did. In fact, we did a big dance one night over in Sydenham, in Slimdom area, because Slimdom was Brockley and Sydenham and them side there. And Slim was a mic man, and I've actually got a cassette tape with me and Slim on the mic together. Yeah.
But the thing is that this information, when you did Danny's and did Hackney, I think it might be, no, it weren't Hackney. You did something else, because it came back to Schumann.
Well, you see, what actually happened is it was through Danny's Talent Quest how I ended up in comedy.
Right.
When I used to work for Beat in Exchange, there was always a brother. We used to call him Dinger, and he used to always say to me, "You should be on stage." And I know it's a bit cliche, but most of us who are stand-ups have a story like that. I always remember Richard Blackwood telling a story like that, and you telling a story like we all have got that. So where our mates said, "No, man, you're supposed to be on stage." In fact, I remember my first performance was in a dance. I was about 22.
Yes.
I was 22 years old, and the sound broke down. The electric went off, because people don't know there used to be power cuts in London back in the day. Yeah, and there was a power cut. The sound system broke down, and I ended up entertaining that party for about an hour before they got the sound back on. A man can come and tell me so to say, but it was just rhetoric, just talking.
Yeah.
You understand me? A lot of the, I think a lot of the skills that I developed in terms of my style came from my brethren them, when we used to laugh and joke amongst each other, and we always want to get one over on each other and things like that. You know, you understand?
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's I suppose my craft was being honed at that time, but Danny had the Talent Quest going on, and then I started to work with him on the Talent Quest and things like that. And interestingly enough, he got access to Junglers in Clapham Junction Comedy Club, and so he used to do a Wednesday night down there. Now Wednesday is quite significant, yeah. But he used to do a weekly talent show down at Junglers.
In Battersea.
This is how I met in Battersea. This is how I saw the likes of, and this is how I met you. This is how it comes in the
I did wonder where me did actually come together, you know.
Yeah, this is how I met you, because I watched you perform. Yeah, it was one of Danny's thing, You performed. I met you. I met Roger D. I met Richard Blackwood, because I think Richard Blackwood started in it probably about 18 months before I did. Yeah. I met Robbie and Eddie. And, you know, most of the comics at the time, who were the dons at the time, I used to go down. We used to sit down and we used to watch them perform. And
But
watch
the thing
singers
is,
perform and things.
but there's an interesting story between you and Roger D, because like I said,
comes after.
Viola.
I got to tell this piece first.
Okay.
I can't get to Roger yet. I haven't met Roger yet with this piece. So what happened is one night, I wasn't. In fact, it's strange enough. I was, because I used to go every week, but because it's my cousin, I don't have to pay in it. So I done in it. So
I get freeness. I get freeness.
Yeah,
hold on. Let me just cut you for a second, right? I'm gonna let everybody know in the rooms, yeah, that in the next 4 minutes I'm going over to YouTube. All right. So I will be switching off Facebook, and I'll be switching over to YouTube. Okay. So give it 4 minutes and we'll be gone. All right. Sorry. So you were saying, Kwaku?
What's the YouTube channel, Rudy? You didn't get him?
Oh, do you? Yeah, that's right. I haven't, you know. You know what? It's a good thing you said that, you know. Let me put it. I'm going to put it in the. I'm going to put it in the section for you guys, so as that you can know that I'm going to actually switch over. The thing is I'm getting fed up with the way that Facebook is treating me, you know. It's like, it's almost like they're taking the piss with me. So I just decided.
I think they take the piss with everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, don't take it personal, Rude.
Don't take it
personal.
personal.
Issues, man. They take the piss out of all of us, man.
Listen, mate, the way that they treat
They've got to
people...
follow government guidelines now, innit? Because you know, people's freedom of speech is not allowed to go now. So the authorities is coming down on them now to curtail what people say. So obviously, you know, when you see them do certain things, it's because the superpowers who run everything is coming down on them, not to allow people to tell their truth. And so they're between a rock and a hard stone. They didn't do it before, but they have to do it now. And that's just the truth of the matter, really.
Okay. I hear you. Well, people, the link is now in the comment section. So if you'd like to grab hold of that link, I will be switching over to YouTube. All right, in the next 2 minutes.
And it's a money thing, you Rudy, because you're you know what I would say about you, Rudy, before we go any further, that what I've always respected about you, in particular, you're very professional and precise in anything you do. You're not a kamikaze comedian. You're quite prepared. You're quite articulate, and you think about what you do. You need a bit of encouragement in it, but you think, and you know, once you get a wind of something, you're on it. I love the way that you present your show. You know, what you have here, you could transmit it to television and you wouldn't have to change anything. But they would want to change what people like me say and things like that, because you know that's how
them now do that because I mean, the way that I look at it, Quakes, I remember when I first embarked and heard what you had to say, yeah, and as a Black British youth, it was so refreshing to hear. It was only you and Leo Chester.
Leo Muhammad, yeah.
Yeah, there was nobody else. Curtis was touching on it, yeah, but Curtis was very much about being Jamaican and not really wanting to associate with what it is to be British, even though he does today. Today it's a totally different ballgame because we've all matured and got older. But you were very much about what's going on in Britain, how it affects the world, how it affects the Caribbean. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to take responsibility for it? Yeah. And that's why it was so important for me to allow people to understand where you're coming from, so as that they could see why your humor is the way that it is. It's not racist. It's not any of those things. It's,
Oh, no,
it's
it definitely is racist.
no, it's about race.
Yeah,
It's
it's
about race.
about our race.
It's about our race. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being proud.
Yeah.
You see, there you go again, right? There's nothing wrong with. I mean, I say I'm a proud racist in the sense I'm proud of my race. Yeah, but it's not in the sense of saying that we should get rid of white people and they don't belong here and blah blah blah. People misconstrued, you know. When you start telling people about Pythagoras and his theory being 2,000 years before Pythagoras was born, coming from Imhotep, and that Pythagoras is a thief. Some people, that's what they see as being, oh my God, how could you say that Pythagoras was a thief? Because I understand the history. I understand.
What happened is what happened is Pythagoras didn't call it the Pythagorean theorem.
No, he didn't.
It was his followers that did.
That's right. It's the European.
He only sat at the feet of the Africans in ancient Kemet and learned from them, and came to teach his own people it. You see what I'm saying? But he himself never called it the Pythagorean theorem.
No, but my point is though, is that when you bring this to the stage, and you start talking about this kind of material, and the audience are really coming to. No, the promoters assume that the audience are only coming there to hear about relationships issues. Yeah. So,
which brings me to you jerk my memory.
Wait, hold on. We are now. I'm just going to say goodbye to YouTube, not to YouTube, to Facebook.
To Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, me gone. Bye, Facebook. Bye, Facebook. Please don't say that I didn't tell you, but we are leaving Facebook now. Okay, bye. You see, because now we're talking the sort of comedy that I like to talk about, or where I'm coming from when it comes to comedy. But yeah, say your thing, man. Go ahead.
You know, a lot of my material came from the fact that I was studying our story, because I went on a course called a Black Studies course, and that course was created by Dr. Femi Biko. And he was the first person in this country to actually have a Black Studies course in an actual European institution. They tried to stop it, but it went through. It was in the Evelyn's, and it was in Stockholm Manor School.
Okay.
And them days I was working in BT. It's a long story because it's all spiritual. All of this stuff happens, yeah. And maybe another time I can get to that. But what happened was that I had a bit of a material that you say that I had a material one time I spoke about, because you know this thing they say Black people time and it's always, there's always a negative connotation to Black people's time, that we're always late and things like that.
I remember.
And I came up with this material and say, yeah, Black people are never late.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah? I said it's impossible for us to late because we create time. We were the first to map the constellations of the stars.
That's right, cosmology. We're talking cosmology now. Yeah,
exactly.
I hear you.
From the time, yeah, and I came up with that kind of material. So then I think the punchline was so when it comes to say we late, yeah, no, when you see us walking, we walk us. When you go to you won't see it here, but when you go to the Caribbean or Africa, people don't rush around and run like they're mad. They take their time and walk. Because when we get up in the morning, we say time, hold on. We control time. Time don't control we. So that was a little thing. But the point I'm trying to make was that my comedy came out of what I was learning about who we were. And not only that, what our experiences were as young African people who were the first generation born here. You know, experience at the hands of the police, school, the government authorities, inside the workplace, etc.
But let's talk about your first standing ovation, right? Because for me, here's the proof in the pudding of when you're talking the truth. Yeah, you went to Singers Paradise. This is where you met Roger and Angie Greaves. Yeah,
but I can't. I told you already.
I know you don't want to go there. I know you don't want to go there, but I know that time is rushing.
I got to finish I got to make it how I ended up to be with Roger, because you know, remember what I said, Rudy. There's a history behind every story.
All right, go on. Yeah? Go on.
So Danny had this show that he was doing, the Talent Quest, and we used to go down there every week and all the rest of it. And because I used to go there regular, you know, I said, "Child, me now go this week." But what happened is my cousin called me up. I got a cousin named Pauline and my brethren Roger. And they called me up and said, you gonna done this tonight? So I says, nah. So now I go down there. She goes, oh, come on, cuz, because I want to go down there. Can you come and pick me up? So I went and pick her up. She and my brethren, yeah, we were, you know, my nappy school friend. We'd known each other since we were 5 years old. So we went down there, and we're sitting in the audience. And we're on this little table, and we're sitting in the audience, and it was a packed night. There was about 200 people in there. And the guy was hosting the show. He wasn't having a good time. He wasn't really a comic.
He wasn't a host,
but he was the host in the show and things like that. But he was talking and he wasn't getting no feedback from the audience. So I was talking to my brethren and my cousin on the table, and he picked on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mistake.
And he picked on me, and then me and him had this kind of
banter. It's banter.
Banter. Yeah. But every time he must say something, I bury him. Yeah. I mean, fiesta like that. Yeah, because I not take no check. You know what I mean? So he said, do you think, and then he goes, do you think you could do my job better than me? You know, he goes, do you think you could do my job? I said, I could do your job and do it better than you. But I was only running up my mouth. Yeah. So people was laughing. So then he goes, all right, well, come then. So I said, no, man, I don't want to do that. Because if me come up there, you're going to have to walk off the stage. I don't want to take away your job. Yeah. So what he did now, he ushered the crowd now to get me up there. So then the crowd said, yeah, go. You know how people are
Yeah. It's like when they see a fight. It's like when they see a fight. Fight.
Yeah. You know it, yeah. Go up there. So I said, so now my heart start beat. So when we now go up there. So then my cousin said, then my brother said, go on, Quakes, man. He can't take you, man. Somebody said, chat. I said, all right. So I'm go up on the stage now. And then we started to have this banter. And then he kept losing the banter and the crowd was laughing. And I said, stop, my brother. I said, stop. I said, what kind of job you say you do tonight? He said, me? He goes, I am the compare of the show. I said, well, you know the best thing you do? Don't bother try to compare yourself with me. And it just got, it got one of the biggest laugh I ever got on stage. And he walked off the stage, Rudy. Man, walk off of the stage, Rasta. So there's me standing up there now, looking at these people. They're looking at me.
Now.
And some people say, sing.
Now
it was a singing competition.
Now it get real.
Somebody said, blouse and skirt. Somebody said, when we can't sing, you know. By that time, my voice broke and all them things. It's not like when I was a youth. Yeah. And then I just started to talk about my mum.
Okay.
And my mum used to, I think most of us have done that material, you know, about our experience with our parents and them beat me and them type of thing there.
Yeah.
It was literally about 3 minutes. And I had the crowd in stitches. And then I came off the stage. Yeah. And when I came off the stage, you know, people shaking my hand and everybody's going on and you know, all that type of stuff there. And I think, what's all this? You know what I mean? Anyway, but being that I was a sound man, I still had that, I think I had that confidence to talk to people, if you understand what I'm saying. You talk on the mic and that type of thing, you know what I mean?
You've explained your background helps. I mean, the sound system helps, the being on stage, it all helps. It's all grounding. You know? And so in the break, a guy comes up to me and he says to me, listen, look, he goes, I want you to come and somebody said, what is brother I talk about perform? What am I talking about? He said, yeah. He goes, listen, look, I'm going to make a space for it. It was Singer's Paradise. Yeah? And that's Tony Biola.
He told me to come. Tony Biola, but it wasn't Tony Biola that spoke to me.
It was Tony's, all right, then it's Tony's partner then.
It must have been Tony's partner. And he told me to come down, and I think it was a Sunday.
Yeah, that was Sunday. It was Singer's Paradise, Sundays.
Yeah. Anyway, I never not of it. And then the same cousin again, because she liked freeness. She wanted to go down there, so she calls me. She goes, you going in that place tonight? I said, what place? I totally forgot about it. So she said, Yeah. I said, nah, cuz, nah, I got on the car. Me booming out. She goes, yeah, come on, because if I come with you, I can get in for free.
Uh-huh.
So we went down there, yeah, and I went down there, came to the door, said, this is who I am. He said, yeah, come in and things like that, and introduced me to the guy. I saw the same brother that I saw before.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was walking in, Miles Crawford, Huey Crawford, and Richard, they were
Okay.
leaving. So I stopped them and I said, listen, there's something I'm going to do, right, Miles? And I want you lot to watch it and tell me what you think.
Right.
So they went back to their tables and they sat down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this was I think the second time I was on stage. It was either the second or the third time. Yeah, I was on stage. And when I went there, this is how now I meet Angela Mark. Not
Okay.
Angela Mark, Angie Greaves. I remember
Okay.
Angie Greaves was on Choice at the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody loved Angie Greaves. Beautiful woman. Beautiful sister. And Angie says, all right then, the guy says to her, find a spot for him, yeah, to perform on. So anyway, I sat there, you got to go sit down, get a drink, sit down, you know what I mean, and watch the show. It was a very good show, actually. And that's the first time, now I'm reaching Roger.
Okay.
The first time I'm meeting Roger D. And I just thought he was just the bee's knees.
Because Roger D was the original sweet boy of comedy. Before Richard Blackwood. Before Richard Blackwood. Roger D had that mantle. Because he was coming.
Yeah, well, let me tell you from now.
Yeah.
When I saw him, I thought this brother is heavy. And then what it was, I liked his accent, his Manchurian accent.
He's from Manchester. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just thought this brother was heavy. He closed the first half and tore the place to pieces. So in the interval now, you know, people's running around him and all them thing there, and I'm trying to get to him because I want to get some advice, innit? You know what I mean? I don't know the hell what I'm doing. You know? So I went up to him. I finally got through to him and I said, yeah, excuse me, listen, man, boy, I thought you're wicked, you know. And I said, look, you know, I'm gonna do a little thing here. You got any advice? And he said to me, he didn't really want to talk to me because I think he was up in
he was aloof, man.
Moment.
Roger was aloof them time there.
Yeah, he was a bit up in the moment, and you know, everybody run him. So he's a star, you know what I mean? I mean, me get that. Yeah. So anyway, that was that, and I went. So what happened is the show was running late. Cut a long story short, what they did, they put me to close the show. I never knew nothing about opening and closing. I never knew nothing. I learned all of these things as I went along. I didn't know it was a big deal to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, it's a massive deal.
So they gave me the ending part of the show. And I did about, I think it was 35, probably about 45 minutes.
Is that where you got the name The Marathon Man?
Yes, that's where I got the name The Marathon Man. And I did about 45 minutes and I got a standing ovation.
Okay. Yeah.
And Miles Crawford came to me and said to me, he said, I must come and see. He goes, he has never seen that type of comedy here before.
No.
He goes, that was brilliant.
No.
And
no. Nobody was doing it.
I don't know. I think I had mixed feelings because I was very nervous before I went on the stage. I was very, very nervous. Because remember, you know, I haven't been doing comedy. This is the second time I'm doing it. I don't know what me I got talk about. I don't have a Scooby-Doo. What me I got do. You understand me I say? So it was quite nerve-wracking. But once I started to talk, and I was talking about, you know, I was talking about our story, and I was very Afrocentric at the time, and born white people and all them thing there. I was on it without apology. You understand what I'm saying to you? And then Roger came over to me and shook my hand and said, boy, that was a good set, you know. He goes, that was a good set. And then that's how And then he said to me, listen, there's this. Then and then from that now, that's how I got to know him. And then he came and did gigs for Talent Quest.
Right.
And then you came, and that's how I met you, and things like that. And then it just spiraled from there.
Because you ended up going to Stoke-on-Trent. Do you remember that experience?
Yeah, because right. So after that gig now, my cousin Danny gave me a spot on his show. Yeah, and I did well at that show. And then from that show now, I got somebody wanted me to perform. This is right now. This is where from that show now, the Miles them now had what they call a cabaret.
That's
and
right.
they had this cabaret thing
Shoreditch.
up at
Shoreditch.
No, it wasn't. It was at the Bricks in Brixton. They moved it from Shoreditch to Brixton.
St. Matthew's Hall.
Yeah, St. Matthew's, yeah. But it was called Bricks at the time.
Yeah.
And so they were having it there. And so what happens is now, they had this, was it 2000 something another, where you could win X amount of money. And they had the grand finale was at the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And Miles and Huey and Richard gave me the opportunity to perform down there. And they invited me and said, listen, look, we're going to give you an opportunity to perform down there, yeah? So I went down there, and I think that was my 4th or 5th time on stage.
I've got it as your 3rd.
No, because what happened is, when I did, Danny's one was the 1st, and then I think I did that was a 4th, I did Singer's Paradise, then I did Danny's one again.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And then I did Acne Empire. So it was a 4th time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I said, yeah, I'll have a try. I'll have a try it, because I'll start to get a little feed for this thing. You know what I mean? And it kind of give you a little notoriety. You understand what I'm saying? So boom, now I go down to Acne Empire, and I have a surreal moment, because it brought me back to when I was working with BT.
Yeah.
I'd left BT by then.
Yeah.
And it brought me back to that moment in BT when I went on the stage, and it's like I paused, and I remembered that moment, and I thought, what is this the moment? It was one of those quite surreal moments. And when I went out on the stage, I think Roger was pulling for me that night as well. I was very nervous. And I went to Roger and said, I'm nervous, bad, you know. He goes, that means you're gonna have a good gig, you're gonna have a good show. Anytime you're nervous like that, you're gonna have a good show. And I couldn't work it out. But anyway, I went out there and I had a great set. That thing actually dragged me off the stage. And from that set now, some people in the audience came to me and asked me, would I perform for them at some event we think it was National Black People Social Work or something like that it was. And it was in Stoke-on-Trent. Now, I spoke with that's when Roger said to me, listen, you need to do a bit more gigs. And he gave me a number. He said, call this guy. His name is You. Yeah, call You, because he gets a lot of work for comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
So we're talking about John Smith.
John Smith, yeah. But he called him You to me at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah? And let it to know him as John Smith. And I called him, but he said he had to see me perform first. Right. He couldn't just go and put me on things like that. And I goes, okay, fine. He goes, where you performing next? So I said to him, and then I realized, yeah, I'm performing at this thing at Stoke-on-Trent. Well, unbeknown to me, so was he.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Richard Blackwell, there was quite a few of
Junior Simpson,
Simpson, Eamon Powell. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Eamon Powell, brilliant double act. They were up there. I think Roger was on that bill as well. I think Richard was on the bill. There's quite a few comedians on that bill tonight. Yeah, who were kind of seasoned at the time. So I was still very green. I was still learning. I learned my craft on stage. That's how I learned it. And I went up there and I met you. So you said, yeah. He goes, yeah. So, and you know, I'm very, you know, so what? You know, give me no work. He goes, well, I got to see you perform, innit? So will you go see it tonight? I was very cocky like that, you know what I
Cocky,
mean?
man.
Yeah. And then,
What's it?
yeah. I remember the suit I wore that night as well. That night, and I did the gig, yeah, and went well. Everything went well. Boom, boom, boom. And then you started to give me work. That's how then I met you, and you know, I met you along the way, and then me and you start talk. We just clicked really, and then you invited me down to the base because you invited me to the base. You said, Quaker, there's a place you can go, you know, where a lot of us as comics we just go there and we try out new material. You told me about the base, and Roger D told me about the base, and I must say this live, Rudy, the two person them that was very receptive to me and helped me through my career on this was you and Roger D. I got a special love for you two comics. Yeah. And oh, is that the one that being you did the Rudy?
Right.
Bonafire comedy boy. Yeah.
Because that's when I was dragging. That's when I was bringing all the comics through Jonglers at that time.
Yeah.
I was drawing everybody through.
I remember that.
Yeah, but go on. Yeah. I want you to finish off this Stoke because I mean that's
and then
sorry, it's your story.
You're going now. Go on, Rude. What are you gonna say? Yeah,
because that's where Junior came into the picture. That's where Eamon Powell came in. John Smith came in. Richard Blackwood came in, and you gradually began to establish yourself. But it wasn't enough for you. I realized it wasn't enough for you because you then went on to start doing your own thing.
Yeah, I mean, what happened is what I discovered in the entertainment business, and it's not just comedy, it's music, it's all that stuff. There's this fear of somebody new. You know, I was doing comedy. In fact, going back a bit, Jeff rang me up one day. He said to me, Quake, are you doing comedy?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. I goes, why? He goes, boy, because I got a phone call and somebody was asking me about you. Yeah. And they were saying that there's another guy like Leo Muhammad on the circuit. And he said the only person that he and they said his name is Kwaku. And he said the only person he could have think about was me. So he called me. Said this was trying to show you how me and Jeff Schumann knew each other before even comedy. He had my number.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I told him, yeah. You know, and that's a whole nother story in itself.
Because that's what I was alluding to quite earlier on about that conversation that took place, that your reputation actually went before you. And it really did reverberate around the circuit that, you know, here's this comic who's actually talking about what it is, other than Leo Chester, what it is to...
Leo Muhammad.
Yeah, sorry.
Leo Muhammad.
At the time, he was Leo Chester. He's Leo Muhammad now, and I do respect that. Yeah, I do respect that, Kwaku. Who was very uncompromising in terms of talking about the experiences that we were having. And then that's in a sense, I think, when Curtis then sort of like grabbed hold of the mantle and started to really push it. Really, 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 really push it and talk about and really be honest on stage. People started to find a sense of honesty. People started to drop this fake identity of not being British and just relating to where their parents was coming from. Because we didn't feel that we were wanted here, but we grew up here. And we weren't relating our experiences on stage to being here. It was always about when I went into Jamaica, when I went to Trinidad, when I went to Barbados. No one was talking about what was going on in here. No one was talking about what was going on in here. Do you know what I mean? But then, like I said, you in the late 90s, pushing into the noughties, believe it or not, was carrying the circuit. because you were getting numbers 800, 600, 500.
Mm. Mm-hmm. 1,000.
Yeah, were the sort of
Yeah.
numbers that was coming out to your shows.
Oh, Rudy, you're fan of Flyer. God.
I've got them, Kwaku. I've got them. Kwaku, I've got them.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that young face. There's John Smith there. There's Junior. Junior Simpson went on to be one of the first black comics to have his own TV show on Channel 5, which was called In the Dark at the time.
And you know what, Rudy? What disappoints me with people like Junior and others, they never give recognition to the grassroots promoters that helped to propel their careers. Because if it wasn't for and I'm not talking me, because I was kind of late. You got people like John Simic, who was putting on shows. Yeah. You got people like even Jeff was putting on shows before I was putting on shows.
Yeah. I mean,
you even had shows that was going on down Labrador Grove there.
Yeah, in the Tabernacle, that's all down to Ian Thompson.
Tabernacle, yeah. You had Cabaret. All of a sudden, you even have Danny was doing his talent. None of those, they never mention none of those people when they're doing their little biography or when they're talking on telly. They never give notoriety to the people that helped to own their craft. And I used to be very bitter about that. Not for myself, but for people who was actually giving us the work, who enable us to exercise our craft. Because, we couldn't go to a white man club them days and say, let's go on your stage. They'd run us. You understand what I'm saying to you?
No. I mean, the only person who had that kind of access at the time was Miles, because Miles came from a different angle to all of us.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying, I'm not talking about that, Rudy. What I'm talking about is that there were comedians like Richard, Gina Yashere. Remember, I met Gina Yashere through Talent Quest. She was my cousin. She's part of a trio. Yeah? When she started. But then people don't mention the people that helped them to hone their craft. Very rare have I heard in any comics when they're talk about the bass. And I'm Johnny come lately in the business when it comes to that. All of a sudden, I say, yeah. So they never give those people the accolades they deserve. You understand? Oh, wow, Rudy. Shit. Well, there's Felix. Oh yeah, that was 1999, innit?
Yeah.
I remember that,
I mean, I've got more.
Yeah. There's a story behind why I started to do my own show. Yeah, and I did not do that show by myself. It was another one of my primary school friends. We're family. Yeah, and Peter, we created Comedy Slam together. It was me, Peter, and Mark, but Mark dropped out, and then me and Peter continued with it. And there's a story behind that as well, why that happened. It was twofold. Because when I first came, what one was that? Is that the one we did we came to the when my glasses them there? We came to the something properly to reggae. That was
2000.
What was that again?
That was at the
Broadway Theatre, yeah. Wow. Toju, another great comedian. I think maybe we do another interview where we just talk about the comics and what we actually think about them.
Well, this is it.
Toju was another
brilliant
comic.
Sorry to have to cut you, Kwaku. It's just that we're coming up to an hour and a half now, and normally my interviews don't last more than an hour. But that's why I decided to come over to YouTube so that people can get the additional bits that they wouldn't have got if we had have just done an hour. And we're going to do a part 2. We're definitely going to do a part 2 because this is just the the beginning of that journey. We haven't even got to club class yet. We haven't really, you know, moved into what really transpired in Battersea, because we haven't even got to your one-man shows. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you got to let me finish the Kevin Hart one. You got to let me finish the Kevin Hart one.
Let's finish on that.
Yeah. So what happened is, by now I'm a seasoned performer. Yeah, I know my shit. I'm able to guide myself around the stage and things like that. And I know what I can't do. I can feel the crowd. And let me just say this before I finish on that. Every comic dies on stage. Who died? I've died. Yeah, and it's not a nice feeling. In fact, it's one of the worst feelings. You know that.
It stays with you for weeks.
Yeah, it stays with you for, you know, a while. So I've had those moments. I don't want people to think that I just came and I was licking down the place. And no, that happens. But there comes a moment when it just doesn't work that night. Yeah, and there's been a couple of those moments. Not a lot, but there's been a couple of them. You understand what I'm saying to you? But anyway, so I'm a bit of a name on the circuit now. People know me, they've heard of me, and things like that. Some people still haven't heard of me. And what happened is I was working with a brother called same name as Mr. C.
Mr. C.
What's Mr. C? Yeah, what's Mr. C's name?
Carlton Thomas.
Carlton, that's it. I was working with Carlton Thomas. And Carlton Thomas started to manage me. Yeah.
Come make me laugh.
And yeah. Carlton Thomas started to manage me. And it was because of Carlton Thomas and Jackie's wife at the time, I was able to do my first one-man show.
I don't want you to talk about a one-man show.
Yeah. But I'm just saying it's just because of that. You just make that point. But so we started to promote together. Anyway, what happened is some guys from Birmingham calls him and says to him, they need a comic emergency to close the first half of a show. And they tried to get Curtis and the regular top names at the time, but they were all busy.
I was busy.
Yeah, they called you as well. Yeah, right. And they were all busy. Everybody was busy, and they were in desperate need of a comic. And so he nominated me. So the guy said they'd never heard of me, which I found quite surprising because my second home for comedy was Birmingham. You booked me up there so many times. I performed up there with Felix Dexter. I was quite surprised these guys never knew about me. Not in a bragging way, but just I couldn't. You know, you're using comedy. You never know. Got me up there all the while. Anyway, forget that. So he came back to me and he said, "Yeah. These guys want to use you." And when he gave me the price and he told me the reason, I said, "No." I said, they got Americans coming over here. Me know where them I go pay the Americans. Then go get somebody else. Because one thing with me, Rudy, I didn't sell myself short. And it's why I didn't do certain things. I know what I'm worth. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I'm not, you may have left London for go Birmingham to rig up a him one and all them something there. Dodge police car and all them something there. When me a speed and all them something there. And forgot there and a penny you want to give me. I'm on a flying from somewhere and you pay them big money. I said, nah, man. So anyway, they went back to him, but they were so desperate they agreed to pay the money. So I went to Birmingham. I think I went up there. The early that day I went there, and I stayed at the guy's yard. Funny enough, yeah. And I slept on his. I think I slept on his settee. Yeah. And they were saying to me, they never heard of me. I'd have never heard of me. And when I told them, the place said, because how have we never heard of you then? And I said to them, you will hear of me tonight. So, unbeknown to me, and I didn't know, because I didn't know who this guy was at the time. But headlining the show was Kevin Hart. He was the headline act. And what happened is there was another American guy that was supposed to come over with him, but he never had a passport. So he couldn't get in the country. Then I got in the plane to leave the States to come here, but he didn't have a passport. He gave me his birth certificate or something like that, and so they turned him back.
Yeah, because he
So
thought
I
he
was feeling it.
like when they fly in the States. When they fly in the States,
Yeah.
they could use that.
Yeah. So what happened is the guys said to me, could I do half an hour? So I said I could do an hour if you want me to. Yeah.
Yeah.
They said, no, could you do half an hour? I said, yeah, half an hour, no problem. Said, right, you got to get you to close the show. So anyway, we on our way down there, and then they pick up my man. They go to a hotel, pick him up in the limousine business or something there, and they introduce. We get down there, and then they introduce him to me. But I used to see Kevin Hart go on. That's how he goes on. Very show off. Always talking. So my go on and I'm talk about him sure. And I think he was doing television at the time in America. Yeah. And when my man introduced him to me, it's almost like, yeah, man just look and say, yeah, all right, and that's it. And he went on to do what he's doing. So I went in the other room and I sat down and things like that. And I had this attitude. From my sound system days, you know, you have what them call clash, you know. And when me see them man I come from, so you know, them now come from my territory and bury me. Nowhere. That's how me see it. War up on stage. And that was the time when, if you remember, there was this big thing that happened in Birmingham where some Asian men was the rapes a Jamaican girl. It was that same time.
Okay.
Can't remember the year, but it was that same time. People would know when it was, and it was a big thing in Birmingham at the time. And where this gig was, it was in a theater in the city, in the city center. Alexandra, that's it. It was Alexandra. So when we got there, what happened is, you know, our people, because we control time and all them things, they would just make time hold on until we come. No, can't start till we reach there. So the audience took a time to come. So then they came to me and said, look, Kwaku, can you do 20 minutes for us? I said, yeah, no problem. No, 25 minutes. I said, no problem. Because they were running late. Then they came back to me and said, 20 minutes. Then they came back to me and said, all right, Kwaku, what we're going to do, we're going to get you to open up the second half. Yeah? And then we can only give you 15 minutes. So the way I calculated it, yeah, you want to give me 15 minutes for the money you're giving me? That's right. I'm earning good money.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I'm earning good money because I know how many days I would have had to work and do overtime to earn that money in a week. You understand me? Yeah. So that was good for me. So what happened is I went on. I was introduced. I think Mr. C was at that show. I think he was even Mr. C was hosting and Felicity Ethnic, another great comedian, another great set of comedians, and they were hosting anyway. They called me out, and right, so I was opening up the first half, and then Kevin Hart was closing the show, so he would come on straight after me. And I've got to say, Rudy, that has got to be one of the greatest 15 minutes I ever done in my career in comedy. I've got to say that because you know me, Rudy. It takes me about 15 minutes to warm up.
Yeah.
So I had to go out there singing, and I remember I don't remember the set. But I remember what I said when I came out on the stage. Yeah, and the first thing that I said when I came out on the stage, and I said, "Where the Indian them there?" That was it.
See,
it just blew up the place. And then I went on to finish the set and got a standing ovation down there as well. And they were laughing when it was and the crowd was asking to bring me back because it was short. You know, in the scheme of a comic thing, it was short. Yeah. And when I came off, it was Kevin's art time. And I timed him. I'll never forget it. I timed him. He did 40 minutes. He didn't die, but he struggled. And it wasn't because he wasn't good. It was because you're in our town and I know the story of the town.
That's right.
So the people were more familiar with what I was saying than what he
You're
was
keeping
saying.
it real.
Talking
You're
about
keeping it
America.
honest now. You're keeping it honest.
Yeah, you know, he was talking about America. He was talking about his TV show, and
Right.
some people probably see it, and some people probably didn't see it.
Haven't. Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, I do.
And when he came off the stage, he himself said this to me. And if Kevin Hart is watching this, yeah, but I like seeing Kevin, because like you make all this money and bring certain money. Yeah. But Kevin Hart said to me, yeah, that's one of the greatest sets he's ever seen. He goes, "You're off the ball." And he shook my hand. Yeah.
You're off the ball, man. You're off the ball.
Yeah. He said, yeah. He goes, man, you got something there, man. I ain't never seen nothing like that. You understand what I'm saying? And that's not lie, that's actual truth. You know, so that was my little claim, what people would say to fame, to knowing meeting Kevin Hart. Never seen him again. I never met him personally again after that. But I did watch him when he came here, and he was at the O2 one time.
Okay.
You know, when you're in the business, people call you, say, "Boy, Kwaku, you want to come down here?" And some little VIP thing. I went there and watched him, and I was happy for him.
Okay.
But we don't get that opportunity here as comics to thrive. Yeah, and so I was once equated to he's dead now. That comic, what's his name again? It was written in The Voice. I did a show one night down over in Ladbroke Grove. What's that place at Ladbroke Grove that we used to perform at, Rudy?
That was the Tabernacle.
The Tabernacle, yeah. And I was the report of the night equated me to.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know who the writer was.
I'm dead now.
Oh man.
And he was part of the Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
But that's actually written in The Voice. And they equated me, Bernie Mac. That's it.
Bernie
Mac. They equated me to Bernie Mac, which I found I was quite flattered by that. And I didn't even know, because if somebody called me and told me about it, and I bought the paper and I saw it. I think I still got a clipping of that paper somewhere, where they equated my style to Bernie Mac at the time. But I never ever got the opportunity to really excel and to really make a living out of it, because I don't make a living out of comedy. Comedy don't feed me. If I comedy alone, me walk with no drawers.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to thank Kwaku for taking the time out to spend with us this evening and share his journey, his comedy journey, as well as why he does his comedy, why he does it. I think it's important to understand where comedians are coming from in order to tell some of the stories that they do. And you're one of the comics I've always admired.
Sure.
Because the fact that you acknowledge the fact that you are British, and we do have a brand that can.
No, I'm an African that live in Britain.
Yeah, you're an African that lives in Britain. I will, I'm not going to put a label on you. You put it on yourself, bruv. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Keep It Real.
And Rudy, before you turn to go, I've got to thank the ancestors and doing this talent that they awarded me for performing with some of my idols that people would look at. Like how some people, the youth, them would look on Kevin Hart or Michael Jackson. Well, I had the pleasure of performing with Janet Kay, Victor Romeo Evans. All of a sudden, I'm saying to you, Carol Thompson, Louisa Ma, Kofi. These were people that I admired. On my sound system, playing their music and watching Victor on television. I had the pleasure of meeting these people through comedy. Comedy allowed me to meet Junior Delgado. You understand what I'm saying to you? And then Monday. So comedy allowed me a platform to meet people that I respected in the entertainment business. And I got to give thanks to comedy for that.
Okay.
I'm meeting you as well, Rude.
No, it's all right, man. I was wondering if I was gonna fall into that category.
Yeah,
but it's
man,
okay,
my
man.
brother,
It's
man.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. My ego ain't that big, to be honest with you. But I do have to close the show, and I have to thank everybody for tuning in, as well as crossing over to YouTube. For all the new people, please do watch out for the promos. There are more shows going on. On Wednesday, this Wednesday, we have the Anything Goes podcast, where you'll be able to catch up with DJ Countryman from Birmingham, the Shoe Doctor himself. You'll also be able to see Sharon Spice Gibson will also be on the show, as well as Fat Man. Fat Man will be replacing Paul Dawkins. He's got a family matter that's happened, and so he's got to drive up to Leeds. And then on Friday, I have another show. And on Saturday, I have a show with Daddy Ernie. So please watch the promos. Enjoy yourself. Thank you for watching Keeping It Real. Kwaku, the promos are going to run for about 10 minutes, all right? So just let's say goodbye.
Yeah, and Rudy, thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity.
No, that's fine, man. No worries. No worries.
Keeping It Real with Rudy Lakewood, the topical interactive chat show where you may end up being one of the guests.
So what is
with
this
special guests and
create
the audience
to depopulate the
with
planet?
Rudy Lakewood.
Who them gonna
This event
populate
is
it
brought
with?
to you by Comedy Hotspot. Don't forget, Keeping It Real with Rudy Lakewood.
As approximately 60 odd million, nearly 70 million people in an area mass 88,000 square miles of land. Ghana, which is one of the smallest countries in Africa, has a population of approximately 30 million, with a land mass of 92,000 square miles of land. So where is overpopulated?
Right.
China has 1.3 billion people. Yeah. Yet China can fit within the southern regions of Africa. Yeah.
Alone.
Alone. Where and that area don't have 1 billion people.
Right.
So where is overpopulated? Who are they talking about? People need to learn and study science, geography, and mathematics. Don't let these people come and bamboozle you. Malcolm X tell us already, you've been bamboozled. No, we haven't. We're
Keeping It Real with Rudy Lakewood. This is an 18 certificate only.
How well does a community take care of itself? According to a recent study, a single pound circulates in the Asian community for 28 days, in Jewish communities for 20 days, in white communities for approximately 17 days, and the black community, 6 hours. With the Black Wall Street UK app, you can find any black-owned businesses around you with a tap of a finger. So next time you're searching for a nearby hair product store or a nail shop or an estate agent or any black-owned business or service provider, just do a super quick search on the Black Wall Street UK. Our app allows
When we go shopping, he carries the shopping bags.
So you're not carrying
shopping. No, I just walk with my 2 hands free. Honestly,
I don't know.
We're running out of time.
Wait.
Time. Red card. Red card.
I'll say first of all, those who are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to YouTube.
Respect your husband, all right? Allow him to be the man he can be. Don't cheat, all right? Make sure. Shut up! Allow him to talk.
I'm gonna turn off my camera.
Yes or no? Altia.
Nope. Never have.
Kwaku.
The question is, man, have you done it?
Okay.
Some flags up there.
Have you ever slept with one of your ex's friends?
Rudy, have you?
Does fingering count?
To submit to you as a man or a woman, or do I continue to walk the righteous path and serve God? That's a personal, individual choice. As a Christian, you know, my Christian beliefs are they're very strong. I'm not going to violate my relationship with God to please another human being.
But straight away, black, red flag, same community, why are we the guinea pigs now?
I feel like when you are speaking up for yourself, it should be unapologetic and it should be honest. I think that we all.
So, for example, the West Indian community, there are many reasons why they may not, and you can probably tell me more than I know. But I think part of it is that they're being asked to trust the same structures that have also contributed to their discrimination, their abuse, their trauma.
But in Ubuntu, we have programs that kind of look at identity, raising self-esteem, looking at our history.
Often when you watch the news and stuff, everyone's talking about race. And I'm just thinking, well, there's more than that. I know, just having no dad and having to work out what it means to be a black man in the UK was a very, very difficult.
And if you ain't got enough to do it in your family, get 2 or 3 families together and start a business. We've got to be thinking like that now, because unemployment is going to be rife throughout our community now.
If she's saying pie, that means that 8:15 is gone.
We love looking after young people and just basically helping them in their football development.
This is where I'm comfortable. This is what gives me the most joy, watching them not being able to kick a ball, and then 6 months later they're able to do things they never envisioned them doing.
It's giving back to the community. I've been working for the community all my life, and this is a big part of it.
15 minutes with DJ Countryman and Rudy Liquid, Saturday morning mayhem.
Morning, darling.
Hey
everyone.
Hey,
me. Who am I on the telephone? Come on, turn up with the telephone.
Join them with interviews.
Peter,
there's no formula there, that's what I'm saying.
Peter, hear me out, Peter. It said, can you write down the number 8 times? That means, no, it's not times, that multiplication. It said write it down 8 times, Peter.
And quizzing.
You can't repeat a word, it means you can't repeat the same sentence.
Alright then. Let's see then.
Countryman is
and
not
you can't
allowed.
stall.
Countryman, yeah, you're not allowed to stall. I'm going to ring a bell in a moment. Okay, and I'm going to leave the room. And that's when the conversation will take place.
You married?
I am not.
You ever had an affair?
I haven't.
You haven't?
I haven't, dude.
You did say it twice. Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't ask me the same question twice.
I agree, the same question shouldn't be asked twice.
No, you
A few people are saying he did.
Wait, hold on. You know what? There's a lot of bitterness in here, yeah? And I know where the bitterness is. I know where the bitterness is coming from.
He says in his tracks.
Peter, you
15 minutes with Rudy Liquid and DJ Countryman. Saturday mornings, gonna be the same again.
At least I forget to tell you about the 24-hour live event that's going to be taking place. And I will be doing a collaboration alongside Natasha Vigil and Lorraine and Hugh Benlow. They are the owners of the Black Business Recommendation. It's a fantastic organization that gets Black businesses working and collaborating with one another. Natasha, she runs the Black Wall Street of London. It's a virtual marketplace. Do not forget to subscribe, especially if you're on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe. Subscribe, hit the button, subscribe, hit the button. If you're on Facebook, make sure that you like the page. By you liking the page, you will receive your notifications, whether you're in YouTube or whether you are, of course, in Facebook.